Board of Education for August 8th, 2023 to session. Let the minutes reflect that 3 members are present, with Mr. Brogan dialed in, and Mr. McBride is not in attendance at this time. I didn't ask him, but I'm going to put him on the spot. Mr. Bragg, Mr. Noah Bragg, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good job, Mr. Bragg. All right, item 3, approval of agenda or adjustments. I'm going to make a motion that we pull the bill for Whitten Construction and Custom Service Industries from the bills, so we will not be taking action on those tonight when we get to the bills.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by myself, seconded by Mrs. Harvey, that we pull the bills for Whitten Construction and Custom Service Industries. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 4-0 vote that we will pull the bill for Whitten Construction and Custom Service Industries when we get to bills. Any other adjustments?
I'd like to make a motion that we pull the Talcott principal separate.
Okay, I'm going to pull Talcott principal when we get to personnel.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Mrs. Harvey, seconded by Mrs. Farley, that when we get to personnel, we pull the Talcott principal and handle that separately. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 4-0 vote that we will pull the Talcott principal and handle that separately when we get to personnel. Any other adjustments?
Make a motion that we approve the agenda with the aforementioned changes. I'll second.
Motion by Mrs. Harvey, seconded by Mrs. Farley, that we approve the agenda with the aforementioned adjustments. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 4-0 vote that the agenda has been approved with adjustments. Presentations. We have with us New School Scholars, and we're going to get a VR presentation.
So we're going to do a little bit of a demonstration. Mr. Miller, you ready for it? We'll get you guys set up and then we'll get on another one. So we're going to stream this. I think the boundary is set up right over where the city is over there. So we're going to stream so that way you can see kind of what they're seeing. And what this is virtual reality based on occupations and vocations and simulated work experience. So I gave everyone a packet, and it has some different stuff in the package board. I did, but one of the things the Department of Ed kind of initiated and launched the simulated work experience back in, I think, around 2013. So the initiative behind that was to bring awareness to vocations, specifically in more rural areas where they needed, rural geographic areas where there was a lack of industry in certain aspects. So to counteract that, they created this simulated work experience, which was going on during the CTE classes. So one of it's great initiative, but one of the downsides that we have seen just through working with, public schools throughout the years and, identifying what students want to do, they're not making well-informed decisions. They're going into, if they get into CTE programs in their 11th or 12th grade year, they've never really had any exposure to any other types of jobs to make a better informed decision on these types of things. So bringing awareness at a younger age, you know, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, to get them excited, to expose them to various careers. I think there's 274 different modules and different things that they can do, from changing oil to culinary, diesel mechanic, electrician, a welder, nursing. So we did kind of a trial run with some of the Summer County students at the board office, I don't know, like maybe 3 weeks ago or so. And we had some of your all students come down. And it was pretty neat to watch them. And we had one individual that wanted to do nursing, right? That was kind of her goal. And, you know, coming out of post-COVID, post-pandemic, global pandemic, getting any type of exposure through nursing is extremely difficult. So, you know, this brings an amazing opportunity to students to get that feel. So we had, you know, her daughter, she came in, is it Haiti? Is that Haiti? Okay, so Sadie came in and put the nursing on, and, you know, we could see her kind of moving her hands all around, doing different things, and because it's super realistic. There's a patient laying bedside, so she was able to take the pulse and the blood pressure and listen to the heartbeat, the handsets vibrated, and it was really neat to hear her, you know, because we never really get to see interactions, you know, after this with her parents. So that was super cool for us to hear Sadie kind of explaining to you what she did. Like, what did she say about it?
She knew exactly how to do it.
Yeah.
She went step by step and told me how to take somebody's blood pressure, how you know if it's regular and what you do. If it's irregular, then you know that, and you do the next step. She knew like the right pulse, like what your pulse should be, what your heart rate should be. It was
Yeah, so it's super realistic. So as you guys will see, you know, when they kind of go through here, so, you know, it gives kids tons of different topics or tons of different vocations, from, like, there was culinary, hospitality, diesel technician, automotive, and then there's 274 different modules that are broken down, and I listed all of those in there for you guys to see also. And it, you know, one of the things that we really try to focus in on through this, and it's not just getting on a headset and doing, you know, simulated experience. It's more about also really focusing in on that whole person concept, you know, really diving into the education and the training, what their interests are, really identifying what it is that they want to do to help them make that transition to high school, to make that transition to CTE, to make that transition into post-secondary education or training of whatever it is that they want to do. You know, the English, math, science, social studies, you guys are doing a, you know, phenomenal job. There's just not much out there for the younger students, you know, in that elementary or 6th grade or 7th grade. You know, we have to wait to get them excited about working until they're 17, 18 years old at times. You know, identifying what their potential skills are. What is it that you're good at? You know, what do you have working knowledge of? What are you exposed to at home to really sharpen your skills? Personal traits, transferable skills is something else that we really dive deeper into. So it looks like, can you turn the volume up on that? So Noah's getting ready to change the oil in a car. It's a Toyota Camry. So the guy on the screen talking to him is Simon. So it's kind of like Simon Says. So Noah's going to have someone to directly instruct him. So we'll have his personalized instructor. So now he just pops underneath the car, and it will tell him specifically and exactly what to do. So no, hold your hands out for me, Noah. So, and like look down at your hands.
I think he's listening.
Yep. So you can see, like, there are his hands. He has the work gloves on, and it tells him, you know, to utilize these gloves. That way you don't get, you know, all kinds of stuff under your fingernails, and it's easier to clean your hands.
I think he's trying to listen to that.
He was. Absolutely.
Poor guy.
Now your hands are protected. This waste oil drain tank will catch the old oil we're about to remove from the car. It also stores the old oil safely until it can be disposed of responsibly. I've already positioned it and locked the wheels. The oil usually spills out at an angle, not straight down, so we should be good here. I'm going to use this socket wrench to loosen the oil drain plug before we remove the plug by hand. This isn't a job you should ever use power tools for. Use the grip button on your controller to pick up the socket
So here's one thing. I don't know if anyone has ever done this before. Like I've done it a few times, but one of the cool things here is that even if you drop that plug, you don't have to go fish for it, right? Like it's one of the awful parts when in real life when you drop that drain plug.
The oil drain plug needs to be tightened to spec. I've already set this torque wrench to the correct set. In this case, 18 foot-pounds.
So this is one of the intro levels of it. So what it does is it will go through and, you know, it'll evaluate and do assessments on individuals as to what size socket is that? Why do we use a torque wrench? What are the benefits and purposes of that? What happens if we over tighten? Different things. So,
Under controller. Tighten the cuff wrench to the point. The cuff wrench counterclock. All right, now you can set this cuff. Now that you've loosened the oil filter, you should be able to remove it with your
It's got oil dripping from the filter too.
yeah, absolutely.
okay, because we still have the drain tank here under. Pull the filter over the drain tank. Great. Now we need to toss that filter. I'll go ahead and dispose of it properly for you. A lot of people skip this step, but it's important to check the filter base on the car and make sure there isn't an O-ring remaining inside. A stray old O-ring can cause the new filter to fail to make a good seal and leak. Use your hand to reach in and feel for an active O-ring. Good thing you got this out of there. I'll throw this into the trash. Let's wipe up all the stray oil on the filter base.
I can jam you up if you leave that thing in there in real life. So,
Wipe around the filter base. Now, set the rag down on the cart. The new oil filter comes with a new O-ring already attached. You should lubricate it before you put it into the filter base. I already took the cap off this bottle of oil for you. Stick your finger inside to get a bit of oil. Pick up the new oil filter with your other hand and run the oil. Now, install the filter. Twist the filter with your right. A good hand tighten is enough. If filters are wrench tight, they can be hard to remove later. Looks like we're all done here. Let's lower the car and add the new oil.
So while he's doing that, so not only do the students get, you know, to experience the headsets and different things, we have a curriculum that flows through this with them that we've created. You know, and I put that in here for you guys to kind of look at as well. It's the new reality. So, you know, just brainstorming when we first initiate with them, before we even put them on the headset, we go over the ground rules and expectations and the boundaries, and this is not, you know, one of the cool things is that student can't put other games on it or anything else. This is, even though it's a Meta or an Oculus, you know, it's administratively locked. You can't put additional apps or anything on that. So, you know, we asked them what are some of the possible uses for VR outside of gaming. You know, what can we use that for in real life and in the world? And you ask them to identify what careers and vocations that they're interested in, and we do some interest inventory assessments with them prior to even putting them on the headsets. You know, do you like to work with animals? Do you like to be outside? Do you mind getting your hands dirty? Do you like to build things? And it's a 90-question assessment that, you know, the teachers and that they can utilize to write that transition plan. What is that, hobby that they write in like 8th grade, to high school, so that personalized transition plan, they can utilize this and make it meaningful. Whereas before, the kid can just come in and be like, I want to be a physical therapist just because that's what my grandmother said that I would be good at, even though I've never been to physical therapy. I've never experienced anyone receiving physical therapy. This is just what they tell me that I should do. So really getting that personalized experience for the students and really from their own, answers as to, those 90 questions assessment, then we take those based on their top indicators and we have them do it based on continued education, higher ed, 4-year degree, 2-year degree, graduating high school dropout. We steer away from that, but we show them the differences in pay between that high school dropout and the high school diploma and a 2-year and a 4-year. So just having them figure out what it is that they want to do. Then we try to actually put them and match them on what it is that they are most eager to try to go into.
That's it. Now you have the drain plug in your hand. Oil normally stays while the drain is leaking, sometimes several minutes. A lot of technicians will pause while the draining finishes, but I'll just speed it up for you. Put the drain plug back.
One of the things that we also have them really explore is bright outlook on a job. So, the pipeline, different things, a welder going into a pipeline, I don't know what's going to happen with that pipeline right now, right? So, like, if they want to be a welder, where's the best place to get a welding job? It may be, relocating and going to like a shipyard in Norfolk, Virginia, or somewhere like that to maximize what you can make as far as a career. So really seeing whether or not the job that you're picking, so you're probably not going to live in, Jumping Branch if you're going to be a marine biologist, right? So really having them understand that you may need to relocate based on your vocational path or what it is that you want to do. Do you want to have him try a different one, or have him try one?
And you guys talk about next steps. I think I've talked to the board a little bit about this, but is there a next website? What's that called? Career Next or something?
Yep, so we
Or
utilize,
Microsoft?
yep, sorry, sir, how are you? Yep, so we use, through the transition plan, we utilize ONET to really have them dive in and explore what it is that they want to do and to help create that transition, that personalized transition plan for them. So it's like my next move, and that's the interest inventory assessment that Mr. Warble is talking about. So it goes through and it assesses them on, like I said, 90 questions, and it's pretty cut and dry.
So that's used to determine their interest,
It is, right.
so that they,
then
gives them a
way-
direction where to go with
Right,
it.
because it's, I personally have 4 kids and I have a senior right now, and I'm like, what do you want to do? I don't know, right? So I'm like, all right, so that way, they can't really say, I don't know, or I don't know what I want to do, or I don't know what I'm interested in. Well, now we know. We have 3 different tiers of what it is that you want to do. And then we utilize that to jump in and really explore and
And is that a program you use, or is that a web?
Yep, it's a program through a website that we utilize for this.
And it's ONET,
It is, yes, sir.
the letter O?
Yep, onet.org.
Okay.
What I like about it, Mr. Angel, is it gives the kids an idea of how much skill set they might need. So let's say in 5th grade, I'm not real organized and I'm kind of all over the place. It'll tell you the skill set that you need for whatever type of job that's out there. But also, when you're that age, you might become more organized. You just haven't had the opportunity because you're so young. But if you're a senior and you've not really taken the opportunity to take care of the business, and mom and dad's done it for you, you might start getting a dose of reality that you have to do the work and you have to do this and you will get paid a certain salary. And the next step is, well, is there any jobs like this around me? So if you want to go into marine biology, the answer is no, there's no jobs here for marine biology, except maybe 1 or 2. But there's probably more near the ocean is what I'm getting at. So you have to also what the market bears for that type of job skill that's out there. But when I went on it after Daring showed me, I was like, man, I wish I would have had this when my daughters were a little bit younger, because I could have helped them out through all that stuff.
So the proposal that we kind of sent through, I don't know if you guys have seen that or not, but we're looking to do 5 days a week, 5 hours a day. And I would really like to take half of one of those days, I don't care what day, but I would really like to drop down to the elementary schools. I think really utilizing this at that earlier age, just to bring awareness earlier, is what is crucial, just to get the buy-in and to exposure and awareness, and really making that meaningful transition from elementary to middle, and really focusing our students on the vocational path of their future.
So
We
you
were
said
looking at
5
grade
days a
5.
week, 5 hours a day, and one of those days would be with elementary.
Right, and it doesn't have to be the whole day. We can do a rotating schedule with that. I mean, we could do jumping and talk it in an area. I mean, we can rotate that, kind of like what we did. Now, out of those 5 days, we would still do some of the credit recovery is what we have. So we can do as much as this as you guys want. And then I think that credit recovery, just through the data, I really would hate to see that piece of it die, because I do feel like that made huge impacts as to the number of students of graduating this year.
Yeah.
You know, we recovered quite a few.
I don't know if I want to
Tutoring
know
still
it.
part of that?
So I think the tutoring is going to be handled not through us anymore. I think the 21st Century is going to
Yeah.
knock out the after-school tutoring. So New School won't have a role in that.
Well, you might with certain people, that if we can't get enough people of our own, then
Right.
he has employees too, but I want to start here in our county first. And then if we have to farm that out, then we got Mr. and Mrs. Pugh here, because I like working with these two. They seem to tailor it towards our needs. I would like to see us pilot 5th grade this year. And then if we need to go down to lower grades, eventually down to 3rd grade, that would be fine too. But we want to really focus on 5 through 8. I think that's where we need to start, and then branch it out from there if we can do that.
Does this meet the requirement of exposing 8th graders to
The CTE.
CTE? Because I know you referenced that in here, so.
This is perfect. This is actually what the state would like more schools to start doing, because we can't have all the CTE programs. But when you hear 174 modules.
274.
Or 270,
Yeah,
thanks for correcting
Yeah,
me.
anytime. You're
Yeah,
shortening it 100.
yeah, no, I don't mean to shorten you, sorry. But and they keep updating them. So as they update them, they keep that going. And then, so the kids won't see the same thing over and over. That's the nice thing, because if you get used to a certain program, that's not going to stimulate you and push you. And the other thing I like about this is it doesn't make you fire off dopamine. Because when you play a game, I think back when I was a kid, Pac-Man, it's exciting to go to the next level. They're creating that so you're always fighting to go to the next level. Today it's clicking on something to keep moving. This is not what that's about. This is not a game. This is actual real life. So that dopamine isn't being pumped into your brain like, I got to get to another level. It's, I'm trying to learn, I'm trying to get something, and I can fail and nobody gets to see it. Now, obviously, we get to see Noah as he's being a willing hostage tonight, but the other kids don't see you failing, because as this gets harder, kids are going to fail, and that's okay to fail in your world. And then the teacher can see that only on their, or you guys.
Absolutely. So to piggyback off that, so we would have like a portal. So it's set up like a classroom. So we would know exactly how long Noah was on certain topics. We would know how, like, was he focused more on diesel mechanic? Was he focused more on hospitality or culinary? We would know what questions when they assess him. We were talking, so I don't think you guys got to see that, but it asked Noah several different questions, and you have to test out of that particular module to proceed on to the next one, to progress into what's next in the automotive. So Noah answered the questions correctly, got a gold medal, and it logs that into his particular classroom. So they just added additional ones. So they just added fuel system or fuel supply system. This is under diesel. So they added fuel system and cam gear removal, air intake, EGR and crankcase ventilation removal, cylinder liner removal and reinstallation, piston and connecting rod removal. So you can see that it goes pretty, I don't even know what half of that stuff means. Like, that's not my wheelhouse, right? But like, it goes super in depth. So with the virtual clinic, they just added the vital signs, the heart rate, blood pressure, which Sadie was able to do. Then they do standards and precautions, donning and like how to put on and take off gloves to prevent, bodily fluids from entering, and like how to safeguard yourself from that. They just put in measuring and reporting output for the visual healthcare, transmissions, and base precautions for contact, vital signs for the temperature, how to do the vital signs, like when you would go to MedExpress or somewhere like that, or Raynell Medical here, like when they're going to test and see what your height and weight are, how to utilize that system and how to read it. One of the really cool things that I thought that I saw with it is just even teaching a kid how to read a tape measure. So during the carpentry component of it, they will use power tools and it'll teach them all the different saws. So they'll take the tape measure and have to cut a board precise measurement, you know. So with this, we're teaching them how to do that, how to use the saw without the risk of, like I was a middle school boy at one time, like no way you probably want to put a power tool in my hand, right? So that way they're not losing an appendage or a limb or a finger or anything else. So yeah, so they're constantly adding different things. So with the virtual clinic, and that's the big one right now because that's one of the newest ones. So that's the ones that they are really adding to. So in July, so as of the 1st, August the 1st, these are now available. So it's ADLs, so how to transfer from bed to wheelchair with a gait belt, how to reduce the risk of venous, like embolism, and then how to assist with hands, feet, and nail care for a patient. So those are some of the new ones that they have just added for the healthcare component. So when they go in, so they're in, like this one here, that's the, like the classroom right now. So they will just go and pick different ones. I'm not sure.
So I know it's probably not cool to do to Miss Courtney over there with, yeah, now she looks. But would she be the one, who's the one who actually, like if I'm a board member, who's teaching this to our kids? Are they co-teaching with our current teacher? What does this look like?
So to me, the way I would like to do it is not to take away from what you already have, right?
Okay.
So your English teacher or math teacher or CTE teachers are still teaching. This would just be in addition to it. So we would have an additional teacher here, just like we had Rachel here all last year. So we would have Rachel, and all we ask is just to find like the space, like just give us, you know, I don't care if it's in the auditorium, we don't care. Like we don't need anything fancy, just give us some space to create a boundary, and they can even do it sitting down. We can do a stationary, when I say boundary, like you draw it, that way if you go too far, it'll put a grid up and it doesn't work anymore. That way it kind of keeps you stationary from bumping in, or if I'm going to change oil and go over here, I don't slap Mr. Warble in the face when I turn with the handset, because you can't see anything, like literally cannot see anything.
And if we have a student with a medical condition where they can't move around, they can
With them in the chair,
sit.
absolutely. So the only thing, so they have closed captioning with them also, so we can work with deaf or hard of hearing individuals. The only thing that they haven't come up with yet is for the visually impaired, for obvious reasons, right? Because it is all visual here. So, yeah. But they make adapters that if they wear glasses or whatever, they can still wear the glasses with the headsets. So if any of the board members want to try, we have plenty for you guys to try. If you
There's
want
too
try
many
some different
cameras
things.
to people
That's right.
videoing.
The support that we get through the program. I know you talked about the updates, but there's technical support,
Right.
we do monthly calls, if there's any issues or anything like that with any of the headsets, we have tons of support through the program as well.
Yep, and they constantly, like I said, are updating this, so we just have to plug it in, and the updates are pretty large, so at any time, we would just do that at nighttime, do the update, and then it would be ready to roll. It's no different than, you know, your Samsung or Android or iPhone, like a new update with that. So it'll take about an hour or so per headset.
Jace, what are you working on?
You still calling?
Culinary?
Yeah. it's pretty
He's so
loud. I can hear
focused.
you.
Now, you talk about engagement, he didn't even hear me.
And it's super neat just to watch the kids. So he's like looking around. So it's full, like dimensional. Like he can turn completely around and he will be in, it'll look like he's in your kitchen at the CTE program.
Do
So
you
what
guys
does this
have-
look like in the process, or in real life, as we're implementing this into the school system? So it's 5 days a week,
Mhm.
available 5 hours throughout the day.
Yes, ma'am.
And so are we rotating all the classes through during that time, all students?
So we're super open. So we haven't really dove into like the logistics of how we do it with the master schedule or anything. But we're open, however you guys best see fit for this to be implemented within Summers County. We're we're 100% on board with.
What we'll do is
whatever.
if you guys approve it, we have our principal meeting tomorrow at 1. We'll start there and then looking at our specialists. We got a principal there and a specialist. I think we'll start trying to see what will work with the schedule. If this is I don't want this to be something that's shiny and new and we just throw it off to the side. I want to get the kids fully immersed in this for 2 reasons. One, if kids are engaged, the discipline issues tend to go down. The other is if we cannot afford all the CT programs, which we can't, then this is a good way not to introduce this to kids. But at the high school level, you can even make this tougher for kids and then enhance them what they're doing if we can't do all the things that we'd like to do throughout the school year. So I would like to see all of us working together, just look at their schedule, and maybe a person at a meeting will say, have you ever thought about doing it like this? And then we can also, I'm sure we're not the only school system that's ever done this, we can call other schools and say, when you first implemented this, what would you say not to do, and what would you say this is a good idea?
And we've put this on, I would say, probably 400 students throughout the state already, just to kind of test, pilot it, and run it. So one of the cool things that some of the coolest feedback that I got were some graduates from the CTE program in electrician, right? So they got their journeyman, they passed all the exams, and when they put it on, they did the circuits, like that was the module that they chose. And the engagement of this, almost 19-year-old kid, like once he took that off, really spoke volumes, and he took it off, and we were like, all right, what did you think about it? What's the feedback? And, what he said is that I wish I would have had this in school. I wish I would have had this prior to, because I sat in CTE classes, for a year and a half before I ever put my hands on a circuit board or saw anything that dealt with real life journeyman or electrician. And he was like, I got to do this, and it walked me through the process within a 5-minute demo of it. So, I mean, that, to me, that spoke volumes that, someone that went through the program was able to do that. So, I mean, and I welcome any of your CTE instructors to put this on, and really see what they think of it and how it can help them get more completers. Because I think that's one of the main issues with the CTE is the lack of completers. And it's not because that they're not capable or smart enough to complete, but sometimes they get put in their third choice for CTE because there was no room in what I wanted to do. So now I'm stuck in culinary, but I still want to be in CTE, and I don't give it 100% effort because I didn't really want to be in it anyway. So this will hopefully curb some of that to get more appropriate, better informed students making better informed decisions as to the CTE programs that they're going into, or 2-year programs that they're going into.
So this proposal has one staff member, and then we'll have how many headsets?
11.
11?
Yes, sir.
So-
And I can always buy more, that's the thing, I can get more headsets based on what the needs are.
I guess my thing would be, is there a goal of how much time you would want each student, or we would want each student to spend using this, or?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, looking at all the different classes that were available.
I could put them in it for a semester.
I mean,
But
yeah.
we're missing out, so there's a ton of students that are going to be missing out on it.
Right.
So I think if we could even rotate it, and again, I don't really know what the master schedule is going to look like. Every school is a little bit different with how it works. Middle school schedule is going to be different with their flow classes or electives or whatever. So, I mean, we're going to modify and adapt to whatever fits specifically for you guys. And if we need to get more, we'll get more. I mean, that's one of the main things.
Okay.
And I think I don't know if the actual proposal's in there. I think that one that you all may be doing is one that we did for the state for some individuals with disabilities that we did it with, because again, we always try to run that and really see. We've done it with autism classes, we've done it with LD, learning disabled, we've done it with mild to moderate individuals as well. So, we want to make sure that this is fully inclusive across the board. So, yeah, but this is the nursing one here. He's taking the brachial pulse there.
Well, I appreciate you giving us
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
good
absolutely.
overview. I like being able to see what we're doing.
Yeah, 100%. Like that's, I think that's what's critical, because when they have questions, they're like, I don't, where's the stethoscope? I'm like, I don't know, like I'm not, I can't see. So, through being able to cast this, we're able to really see what they're able to, what they need or what questions that they have. But you can see how real the hospital bed and the room and everything is.
All right.
Did you guys have any other questions or anything on that? We'll let you all get
I
through.
know. Do you have any more questions? Mr. Brogan, I know you're not able to see, but if you were able to hear, did you have any questions?
Mr. Rogan, did you have any questions?
Kenny, are you muted? He might be muted.
Yes, I was muted, sorry.
I don't know if you've been able to hear everything we've talked about. I know you can't see what's going on, but it's just the demonstration of the VR component. Did you have any questions?
Actually, it's vice versa. I switched over to the YouTube feed so I could see what was going on,
Okay, all right.
so I could, but that made me hear less.
Okay.
I was just curious, will we ever own any of this equipment, or is it just the price we're paying? Is it just the utilization of the product, or where are we at there?
Yeah, so you wouldn't own it, and we don't own it, so it's a licensing fee that we pay into this organization. So
Okay.
we went through the training and we're able to, I guess, teach the teacher type. It's kind of how it flows, I would suppose. But as far as owning the headsets, we don't own them either. They're, I guess, on loan to us through the licensing fee that we pay annually for that.
Okay. I mean, that was probably covered in your presentation, but like I said,
Actually, that was a great question.
in order to watch it, I couldn't hear it.
No,
Good question.
Thanks, Kenny. All right.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you very much for
Yeah,
your
absolutely, guys.
presentation.
Thank you all so much.
Thanks.
All right. We'll go to item 5, public comments. None. Item 6, we have the minutes from the July 25th regular meeting and the August 3rd work session meeting before us.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the July 25th meeting and August 3rd meeting. I'll second.
So we have a motion by Mrs. Harvey, seconded by Mrs. Farley, that we approve the July 25th regular meeting minutes and the August 3rd work session meeting minutes. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote. Mr. McBride is now with us, that those minutes have been approved. Next, we have before us approval of bills. We have before us the bills and also the explanation of the bills. Thank you again. We have 2 bills that we are pulling out, Whitten Construction and Custom Services Industries. We will be pulling those out and not dealing with those today.
Make a motion that we pay the bills with the exception of the 2 that were pulled.
Second. Have a motion by Mrs. Harvey, seconded by Mr. McBride, that we pay the bills with the exception of the 2 that were pulled out for Whitten Construction and Custom Service Industries. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote that the bills have been approved with the 2 exceptions that were pulled out. Item 8, approval of transfers and supplements. None? Okay. Item 9, old business, discussion and possible action to approve new school scholars MOU.
So, Mr. Whipple, did I hear, in implementing this, with the VR part of it, is it meant to replace or augment any existing or potentially new CTE programs?
No, it's only to enhance. No, we're not taking away, we're adding to it.
Do we have a copy of the MOU?
It's in,
It's in your packet.
it's the very
Is it on the
of
last page? Okay. Yeah, so that's the one I was looking at, so.
So did I hear right? The question was asked how we plan to implement this program, and we're a little uncertain about that. It's going to have to be worked out. Is that right?
Correct.
That's correct.
This is a pilot year for us, something new and different. We want to try it out to help enhance our classrooms.
And it's going to be discussed at the principal meeting tomorrow. Correct?
Yep.
And Mr. Pugh indicated that he would work with the schedule that is here at the high school and with the elementary schedule as well, to do what fits best into those schedules.
Well, y'all know my concern. It's a little scary to throw $125,000 at something that we don't know how we're going to work out. However, we do have an exceptional amount of money that we have to get spent. So for that reason, I tend to be more lenient with what we're doing here.
And is that how it will be, is that the funds that will be used?
The ARP money, yes.
If this program is successful and we wish to, because I'm assuming this is just for this year, correct?
Correct, it's a 1 year.
And so would we be able to utilize any of the Gear Up funds to help sponsor or pay?
Possibly. The only thing with Gear Up is, depending on how things are written into a grant or a strategic plan, because if it's not in there, you can't just do, so you have to be careful on that. But yeah, if we get through this first year, we can start planning on how we can create funds. If this is very successful, then we can move forward. If it's not, I would be surprised, but then we use COVID money to try this out to see if this will work. Did I speak correctly on that in Europe? In our strategic plan is that correct?
That will be the portion that will be geared toward that cohort.
Yeah.
That
So only to the 8th and 6th grade?
8th and 9th grade.
Yeah, brilliant.
So I would have to double check to see like how we would calculate the cost breakdown.
Right.
To be sure, but I don't see why we couldn't, as long as we get a detailed, and perhaps we would have 2 contracts. This was for the 8th and the Gear Up cohort, 8th and 9th grade at that point in time, and this is for the rest of the school. That'd be something we can look at.
Thank you. I'll make a motion that we approve the new school scholars MOU.
Second.
Have a motion by Mrs. Harvey, seconded by Mrs. Farley, that we approve the new school scholars MOU. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstaining? The minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote that the new school scholar MOU has been approved. Item 10, new business, purchases over $20,000.
Don't have any, right?
Okay. Discussion or possible action to approve county level personal leave incentive. I know this is one of the things we talked about in our work session.
Yeah.
Do we have any proposal or any numbers?
I think it's just basically what you've done last year when you guys just, if you have to approve that each year now, if you want to continue to do that, what we've done last year.
Is that
And
the
that's-
4 and less days is the $500 bonus?
That's what it is.
Yep.
Or that's
Okay.
what it was last year. It can be different this year, it's whatever you want. Amanda looked at it
Okay.
I do know that I hear back from employees occasionally that really like this, and actually it makes them strive to get under that 4 days. I've heard, I don't know if any of you have, but I have heard back.
What did this cost? Did Cassandra give a total on that?
She said about 30,000 last year.
Okay. Is that county funds?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion, we approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Brogan, seconded by Mr. McBride, that we approve the county level personal leave incentive. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote that the county level personal leave incentive has been approved. Item C, discussion or possible action to approve MOU between Summers County Schools and Pinnacle Whole Life Services for school psychologist services. And no changes to the MOU from last year?
Very slight.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we approve the MOU between Summers County Schools and Pinnacle Whole Life Services for school psychologist services.
A second.
Motion by myself, seconded by Mrs. Harvey, that we approve the MOU between Summers County Schools and Pinnacle Whole Life Services for school psychologist services. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote the MOU between Summers County Schools and Pinnacle Whole Life Services has been approved. Item D, discussion or possible action regarding superintendent's goals for the 23-24 school term. This was just one thing I wanted to put on here. These are due September 15th.
Yep.
So what I would like to do is just make everybody aware, review the policy again when you have a chance. If you need a link to it, if you go to the West Virginia School Board Association webpage, there will be a link to that policy. And then that gives us 2 meetings to meet with Mr. Warville prior to that September 15th deadline. So unless anyone has any questions or concerns, we'll take no action today. And then that gives us 2 meetings to work on that.
Good.
Is it a plan for us as a team to come up with those goals?
The policy indicates that the board and the superintendent work together, and as we talked about in our work session, I think that with the direction of the board, our goals as a board, and in lining up with the goals of the superintendent and the staff at the board office, and that would get us all in the same direction. So that's my take on it. And I'll let Mr. Warville comment if he would like to as well.
You're right.
So,
Yep.
Yep.
All arrows fly in the same direction works a lot better.
That's right.
I don't know how else to put it.
That's a good way to
Well,
put it.
you do archery, you know
Yeah.
what I'm talking about.
You don't want it to fly in the opposite direction.
Yeah, you get 'em peeled.
All right, any further discussion? Okay, so if we can, let's leave that on the agenda for the next 2 meetings, please. And we'll get that before the September 15th deadline. Item 10, we have personnel items. We did have an amendment to the personnel items to pull one out separately, so we will handle that one second. So let's go ahead and look at all the personnel items. So we have the resignations. We have leave of absence. We have under employment professional, we are going to deal with the bottom 2, the first grade teacher at Jumping Branch and the multi-category special ed teacher at Hinton area. Employment service, employment athletic coaches at Summers County Comprehensive High School, employment substitute teachers, employment substitute services, and renewal of substitute teachers for the 23-24 school term.
Mr.
And I'm,
Does this look like the beginning of the school year?
yeah, I'm not reading all the names or the positions. These have been posted as required.
Plus everybody's getting a job.
Yeah, these have all been posted as required. Do I have a motion for the personnel items that were listed?
I'll make a motion that we approve the superintendent's recommendations for the postings.
Second. Okay, we have a motion by Mrs. Harvey, seconded by Mr. McBride, to approve the superintendent's recommendations for personnel that were listed. Any discussion?
I'd just like to say that I really appreciate all of your all's hard work to get all these names ready to get this new year started out. Thank you all so much.
Yep.
I'll just stay.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote that the superintendent recommendation for personnel that were listed have been approved. We now have before us the superintendent recommendation for employment professional for the principal at Talcott Elementary School.
I'd like to make a motion that we go into executive session based on West Virginia Code 6-9A-4A, paragraph 2 for personnel.
Second. Have a motion by Mrs. Harvey, seconded by Mr. McBride, that we go into executive session according to West Virginia State Code quoted by Mrs. Harvey. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote that we will go into executive session at 5:51 p.m. All right, executive session adjourned at 6:04 PM. So we will now call back to session this regular meeting. And we have before us the principal position for the Talcott Elementary School.
Make a motion that we accept the recommendation for the principal at Talcott Elementary.
Second. We have a motion by Mrs. Harvey, seconded by Mr. McBride, that we accept the superintendent's recommendation for principal at Talcott Elementary School. Any discussion? All in favor, please say
Just
aye.
curious.
Oh,
I'm just
yep,
curious,
go ahead,
Greg. Is there any room for grievance here?
There's always room for grievances. That's the American way.
Well, you know what I'm saying. I just wondered if we are somewhat protected from that. But anyway, we'll move forward.
Okay.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote that the superintendent's recommendation has been approved. Item 11, superintendent's report.
Just want to let everybody know that the schools are ready to start when all the students come back. Now, if you hear people in the community say, well, they're not completely finished, you have to have a starting point. And yes, not all the buildings are like 100% up to date, completed. You can look at the building here. We're still mad on a middle school. Talcott Gym is still not completed. In Hinton area, we did abate the asbestos on the floor, but it has been cleaned and sealed with the concrete. We will have tile on that, but we're going to have to wait because the tile was back ordered because of the supply chain. We ordered that way back on July 7th. They said it'd be in by the end of July. Now we're told middle of August, and we don't even know if that's going to happen. And we ordered the standard tile like this, nothing special. It was just regular tile. But we did order quite a bit of square footage of tile. Having said that, school is ready to start, and we're excited to get the kids back. I don't know if they're excited to come back, but we're excited for them to come back. Just want to let you know this week has been our Teacher Academy. You have two people in here, the two ladies over here to my right, Christy and Kristen, that have led us this week with new hires, and also teachers who have been in the school system 3 years or less. And what is great to see is those teachers who are their third year, they're now leading the Teacher Academy. So we're creating and having a capacity to build some leadership within our own. So that's exciting, but we couldn't do it without these two ladies. I'm really proud of them, and they've done a heck of a job. And like I told them on the kickoff yesterday, and I'll tell you guys as well, people in the public, these two ladies here are okay to share your vulnerabilities and your weaknesses. They will not exploit them, and they will not harm you with them, and they won't judge you. What they'll do is they'll listen and work with you to become better at your craft. And that's the kind of people we need around us to help people like that, because showing your vulnerability is tough for any of us to do. And I really praise these two for working with all the people that they work with. And so far, I've gotten great feedback. You can listen to me or ask them, but I'm pretty much saying in a nutshell, I know it's just day 2, but it's been a good week so far, and it seems pretty positive. So when people ask, what's everybody doing parked out at the school? They think it's a football game or something. Like, no, it's training. Everybody's there and wanting to be there, and they've had a good turnout. So it's pretty exciting. And then the third thing you all have, I've given you these postcards. These postcards are going to be mailed out to all the students, parents, or family members in this county that are homeschooled. We're not telling these people not to do homeschool. We're just saying, hey, here's an opportunity. You can stay at home and be like a homeschool student, but we'll provide you with proximity with a teacher. The reason why we're doing this is we're seeing more people take that Hope Scholarship money and pull it out of the public school system. We can either cry about it or try to do something to curb that. So you can see everything on here, the bullet points that say, why don't you try coming back to Summers County Schools? Or if you've never gone to a public school, why don't you look at maybe enrolling with us? You can enroll and still stay at home and have an online program, and then you can have a transcript. If you see at the bottom, There's no portfolios, but you do get an official transcript. I think parents would be more apt to look into this, and this is one way that we're trying to do it. Ken Lester asked me how many I needed. I said a bunch. A bunch is a couple hundred. I was really impressed with the look of this, and I thought this is simple. If parents don't want it and they want to continue homeschool, throw it away. But I wanted to give you guys this in case you talk to somebody. We will take you and enroll you in our school system, and we want to make sure you have a great education. We will provide you food, and we'll provide you with a laptop as well, so you can be online. This will save them money, and I know a lot of people think, oh, I'll use the Hope Scholarship. That money's not going to help you out as much as you might think it will. I think we have a pretty good school system here in Summers County, and I think it's only getting better. And this is one way to curb people from exiting the public schools. If you have any questions, I think I've answered everything, but that's my report, Mr. Angel. I don't have anything else to add.
Just a comment, I noticed here on the postcard, it says provided by West Virginia Southern Education Services Cooperative.
Yep.
So the more we use that, when they
Yep.
reach their threshold, we're going to get some kickback from that as well.
Well, that is one way of looking at it.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
so-
Well, the other thing, I forgot to mention this, today with our construction meeting, it's kind of interesting how these construction meetings have landed on the same day as board meetings, which is good, because I can give you the latest. Just to let you know, you probably saw when you came on the railroad tracks, that sign out there has to be official to show people this was the school building authority money, and the governor and the people who are involved with it. So if people ask, what's that sign doing up there? That just goes with every school building authority. That has nothing to do with, I wanted to paint a sign and put it out front. That's because we use school building authority money. The second thing is this building at this point in time, this building we're in is ready to go for fire safety issues. So if you see on the wall, there's one of them, those pieces of equipment that's on the wall and the pole handles, everything is up to code for now. The CTE building is not talking to this building. So right now, the CTE building is not considered fire alarm safe. Having said that, though, I talked to Bobby today from the fire marshal. I called the second in command to say I need to talk to our local fire marshal. Bobby said that we can have school even if the fire alarm doesn't work out there. But you have to have a person hired, like a sub, do a fire watch walk. So we can't have an SRO do it. You can't have a principal do it. You can't have a teacher do it. You have to have someone come in and walk the premises during school hours, not after school hours, just when kids are in the building. So we can use that building like normal if we can't get the material in. And you might be asking, well, when's the material in? It might be in this week, but they're working on it. They being the KW Electric, they've been great guys to work with. Matter of fact, today they found where the electric is coming into that building. They've been searching everywhere, and they finally found it. It will connect with this building, but not with the equipment we currently have. So they're doing all the wiring, they're getting all the labor. They're just now waiting on the pole handles and the lights, that strobe, and the alarm system that would jive up with this one. So that's what we learned today, was we had to get the blessing, if you will, from the fire marshal. We do have that blessing to move forward. But if we get the equipment, then we don't have to do a fire watch. But I think that's a big concern, telling all the students you're going to have to be shoved into another room. I think that they're tired of that. I mean, that's getting old real quick. And so I appreciate the fire marshal working with us on that. So if you're going to ask any questions, we can go to school like normal, but we'd have to have someone come and pay them. We can just get one of our subs off the sub list and say, your job today is to go there and just walk and just keep an eye on the premises while students are here. But nobody else in the school system can cover two jobs. That's all, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yep.
So will that person
Okay.
have like walkie-talkie, I mean,
Yes.
have the radio communication?
Yeah, we'll have them communicate with one of the principals or all the principals or the SRO. Yep.
Any other questions? Okay. Okay, item 12, discussion of next agenda. We have for August 22nd, Cindy Wilson and Greg Winter, Susan Kincaid will be here with their secondary data. And then, as we mentioned, we'll just keep the superintendent evaluation item on the next meeting as well, the next two meetings. Yeah, superintendent goals, I'm sorry, not the evaluation. Thank you, Mrs. Farley.
You're welcome.
Any other items for the next agenda?
Any word on when we'll have the formal report, the CIS report for
The
here?
CSI for this building?
Yeah.
No, matter of fact, I was supposed to meet with Margaret the day of the work session, but she said I have to cancel, I need to reschedule. So I emailed her today to say, when would you like to get back with me? So as soon as I find it, I'll disclose it to you.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, any other items? Okay, Mr. McBride, you're on.
All right.
Hold on here. There it
I
is.
make a motion, we adjourn, and the time is 6:15.
Good job.